Well, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in from across the continent. We've got folks coast to coast today for us here today as another Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants program. We've got some newbies in the crowd today, too. So if you are new to us, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And today really epitomizes us in a nutshell. We started off the day live in Norway off a ship studying orcas, which was super, super cool. We wrapped up with Jared Daniels talking about butterflies in Florida and beyond. And now we are diving into the frontier, the greatest frontier. We're going to learn a little bit about space, alien life elsewhere in the universe. Are we alone? What are UFOs? All the big questions that we ponder in the universe. And there's a reason that these are so exciting to us. There are over 300 of you joining coast to coast today. So a big welcome to you all. And I'm so excited to welcome back astronomy educator extraordinaire, university lecturer, cruise ship talker, and anyone who is willing to listen about space. Tom is there, and he has joined us over a dozen times over the years to highlight all sorts of amazing stories of the cosmos. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining us again, and welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much. And Jesse, I wanted to ask a question. Do you happen to have our quiz question that we can get some input from the audience?
I do have our quiz question. So we can actually lead in with this. And so you've got it up on the screen. Here we go. So for our audience, whether you're on StreamYard or YouTube, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. I can also come to our classes first. What do you think the most advanced form of alien life that exists, if any? Tom, do you want to walk us through the options?
Yes. So just pick any one of these options. Those of you that think no life exists beyond Earth, or maybe you believe that it's just tiny little microbial life, or do you think it might be aquatic, flying, or terrestrial animals, or maybe aliens with advanced intelligence at the same level of humans? Or the last option is aliens far beyond present day human intelligence. So let's get everyone to vote on that has access to your polling there. And let's see what answers we get.
We'll put that up again for everybody. So just so you can put in A, B, C, D, or E. If anyone wants to chime in, okay. And I can go to their classes too. Bayside Public School. If you guys want to unmute your mic, what do you think as a class? What do we think? A lot of A and B. Miss Hawk and Joss, what do we think? B. Okay. Tiny microbial life. A little bit, I think. John Brandt, grade 6s. What do we think? A and B. I've heard only A and B so far. Mr. Hancock, what do we think?
We're thinking B as well.
B as well. And then Meadow Montessori, last but not least.
B, right? B.
Okay, microbial life. That's it. That's the most advanced alien life, but almost that or nothing, Tom, is all our answers. Awesome.
Well, Jesse, one thing for certain is everyone has an opinion.
Sure do.
Now, the interesting thing about this question, even though I'm asking it right up front here, we of course don't know the answer to this question because we have never discovered alien life anywhere in the universe. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of speculation, but hopefully we're going to try to use science to answer the questions properly. So let's get into it. And here's what aliens might look like. I mean, here's the tiny microbial life that everyone is mentioning here. But maybe they kind of look like this crazy little creature here that is the swamp dragon that maybe eats things and poops and does things like we as humans do. Or maybe aliens look like this advanced robot. Maybe it's been programmed by an advanced intelligent species. Maybe it's been programmed, and who knows? I mean, this is why we're searching the universe for alien life. We want to get the answer to this, but I don't know. If you ask me, I'm pretty much in agreement that what everyone's saying here is that I think most alien life out there is probably microbial. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll meet some of these other creatures as well. But there's been a lot of talk about people that have been getting abducted by aliens. Maybe they've already visited us here on Earth. And we won't ask this question as a quiz, but I always like to ask people whether they think UFO sightings are clear evidence of alien visits or UFO sightings are likely the result of some other reason or cause. And I'm really of the firm belief that it's probably some other reason or cause and that UFOs aren't real evidence of aliens, because as scientists, we have to have a really high level of proof before we're willing to say that something is an alien. So here we go, some stories that people talk about getting abducted by the spaceship. But I have to point out, this is just an artist's illustration. Okay, we have not caught this actually happen yet. And I would say there's a lot of reasons for UFO sightings that is not aliens. It could be natural phenomenon or human-made objects or technology glitches in the radar of the radar system tracking something. Or maybe there's psychological reasons where people think they're seeing aliens, or maybe there's drugs involved, or finally there could be some illusion caused by, a cancer of the brain or different things that might be happening. And in fact, maybe we're just misinterpreting the data, but a lot of these sightings have to do with hoaxes where someone has some financial gain, where they say they saw the alien and they write a book about it and they make thousands of dollars. But as scientists, we can't fall for this. We have to look for proper evidence. So as scientists, we have to say it's probably not aliens until we have the definitive proof that's out there. So do we have evidence that UFOs are actually alien spacecraft? Well, look, some people spotted this UFO over Liverpool. And boy, that looks like an alien spacecraft, doesn't it? But yeah, the next day we realize it's just the undercity of the Radio City Tower. Or how about this phenomenon here? A lot of people were saying this was aliens, and this is some weird electric reaction. Look at how it reacts to the electricity in the pole. And we could say maybe this is aliens, but as scientists, we've now discovered, no, it's not. It's something called ball lightning. And so as scientists, we can really discover the true nature of what is out there. So we have to use the scientific method, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So here you are today to answer the age-old question of, are we alone? And I have to now give you the definitive answer to that, and that's, I don't know. So let's try to search and see if we can discover what might be possible, because several years ago, some NASA scientists discovered this thing here from Mars that actually looked like evidence of microbial life on Mars. In fact, Bill Clinton went out to the White House lawn and stated, for sure, the scientists told him, we have found alien life on Mars. This is the picture of it. But the more other scientists analyzed this evidence, the more they realized, no, there was many other things that could cause this thing, and therefore it is not definitive proof of alien life on Mars. But then there was this fellow that came along by the name of Enrico Fermi, a physicist, many decades ago, and he was having lunch with his physicist friends. He was part of the Manhattan Project, and they got talking about alien life and thinking there's got to be alien life all over the world, but why haven't we met them yet? And so he asked the question, where is everybody? And that question became to be known as the Fermi paradox of, yeah, alien life's probably all over the place out there, but why haven't we met them yet? So there's many different possible solutions to the Fermi paradox. I'm not gonna get into all of them, but some of them talk about the fact that aliens do exist, but the reasons why we haven't met them, or maybe they do not exist at all. And so there's been books written about 600 solutions to the Fermi paradox, and we're going to explore some of these solutions today. And as Carl Sagan says, the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space. But just to mention a couple of the solutions to the Fermi paradox, one is that we live in a simulated world, that maybe some advanced alien species has created an advanced computer program, and we're living in the simulation, with different Hollywood movies that have been made, like The Matrix, where it talks about how now we're just part of some simulated world out there. Or maybe the aliens are already here and they're living with us. The best Hollywood movie for that, of course, is Men in Black, where, the aliens all over the place, but we just kind of ignore them. But let me talk about some research from Indiana University that talks about how Earth may be home to 1 trillion species, but we've only identified 1,000th of 1% of them. And not only that, but 99.9% of all life that has ever existed on Earth is now extinct due to certain cataclysmic events. What that means is on Earth, there have been about 1,000 trillion life experiments that can inform us about what the aliens might look like, because we've got 1,000 trillion experiments that have happened right here on Earth that might help us determine what the aliens might look like. So let me share with you my solution to the Fermi paradox. And I believe that microbial life and intelligent civilizations are incredibly common throughout the entire universe, but so far apart in space and time that we'll likely never, ever meet those advanced intelligent aliens. So first of all, the fact that the universe is huge, there's got to be life out there. And so there's been amazing things like the James Webb Space Telescope
Tom, we may need to
that has created things like this 3D.
Sorry to interrupt you. Your bandwidth is such that it's cutting out for your audios. Let's head to the next picture instead.
Or 1 trillion worlds that might host alien life. There's got to be other alien life out there. In fact, this is an actual picture of a comet, and scientists made some amazing discoveries where they're finding water vapor and organic compounds and amino acids. These are the precursors to life that maybe life on Earth was seeded by some of these comets that landed on Earth billions and billions of years ago. So the kind of stuff that makes life here on Earth, like carbon and oxygen, is common throughout the entire universe. Microbial life and extremophiles are all over Earth. So we look deep in caves without any light, and we find microbial life living off of the sulfuric acid on the walls of the caves. You take a gram of soil on Earth, and there's 1 trillion cells, 10,000 different species of bacteria. So if we got a gram of soil off some alien worlds, why wouldn't we expect to find bacteria on those other worlds as well? Or this crazy little thing called a tardigrade. Maybe this is evidence of life that has joined us from some other alien planet. It's really weird. These tardigrades can withstand 1,000 times the lethal dose of X-ray radiation. And if they run out of water, they can curl up into something called a tun and go without water for 100 years before waking up again. So might there be life in our solar system? Of course, the place where we have to look is in the habitable zone between Venus and Mars. But on Mars, for example, there's underground liquid water that we found on Mars. NASA has found evidence that billions of years ago, Mars was loaded with water, and we see evidence of rivers and oceans and river deltas and things like that on Mars. Even methane that shows up every spring on Mars, maybe that's evidence of microbial life living underneath the surface. But not only Mars, we can even look at the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, because those moons, like Enceladus, have huge underground oceans that could be loaded with alien life like we have here on Earth. So we've actually had missions that have detected and sniffed out things that are shooting out of the surface of Enceladus that we may be able to find alien life in the future. So what's happening there? These huge cryovolcanoes are shooting out, showing evidence of underground oceans. The moon itself is being warmed up by tidal heating. It's getting squished and stretched by its host planet. And maybe there's hydrothermal vents at the bottom of that ocean. And our hydrothermal vents at the bottom of our oceans are literally loaded with life So maybe these oceans are also loaded with life similar to what you're doing. The other thing I wanted to mention is how big the universe is. This is our closest neighborhood star, Proxima Centauri. You might have heard that's only 4.2 light years away, but guess what? That is 40 trillion kilometers or 26 trillion miles. If you wanted to go to Proxima Centauri with our fastest spaceship, it would take you 6,000 years, okay? So that's why I say stuff is so far away in the universe, it would be hard for us to meet some of these other aliens. So why haven't we been visited by aliens? I'm going to close with a bit of a history of the entire 13.8 billion year history of the universe. And I'm going to compact it down to 1 Earth year to give you a perspective, because we have trouble dealing with billions of years. And here's what the calendar would look like if the Big Bang happened on January 1. Our solar system and Earth didn't show up until August. Single cell life developed soon after that, but advanced animals didn't show up till mid-December. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for a couple of days from December 26th to the 28th, but humans didn't show up until the last day of the year, December 31st. In fact, we were so slow to show up that we didn't even show up until the evening of the 31st, where at 9:30 our ancestors and Australopithecus showed up, then Homo erectus showed up. Homo sapiens didn't show up until 8 minutes to midnight. And guess what? Advanced intelligence didn't actually show up until 1/4 of a second to midnight. So once again, if there's advanced aliens out there, maybe they showed up here back in September and we weren't around to meet them. So it's a great big difference in space and time, making it very difficult for us to meet some of these aliens. Okay, so that, Jesse, is what I wanted to cover in our talk. I would love to open it up to some questions from the audience, and then maybe after that, I'll show a couple of final alien images.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I love that we finished with the cosmic calendar, which is one of the surely coolest things in the history of thinking about science that we've ever had. I did make up a Kahoot as you were doing that presentation, so I will highlight, if anyone wants to play along, or you can just yell out the answers in your class, you've got kahoot.it with this game pin.
Hi, Jesse, go ahead.
Four questions. To test your understanding and have a little bit of fun. I'm going to let Tom sort out with a slide deck in just a second, and we'll play that to start, and then we'll dive in with our Q&A. And what you win for this Kahoot is bragging rights and Tom and I's everlasting respect. So I'm going to cue that up for everyone. We'll dive in with some of our main themes of the program over the last little bit, and we'll get underway in just a second. Thanks, everyone, for coming in, and we'll go from there. Tom, if you want to help us out with any of these answers, hopefully you can see and hear me and all well, and we'll go.
Sorry, Jesse. Yes, I can hear you now perfectly. Go ahead.
Let's do it. So many folks pouring in. Come on and get underway with question number 1. Here we go. All right. Are we alone? Drum roll, please. 3, 2, 1, and true or false? We have found life elsewhere in the universe. The most fundamental question of this whole broadcast. Are aliens everywhere? Have we found them? Have we talked to them? What do we think? It's really interesting. I love when we feature this question because there's a lot of misconceptions around this. And it's worth noting, if we had found alien life, it would be the biggest discovery in the history of science ever. It would uproot the world. It would change everything for everyone, even if it was a bacterium on Mars. And so false is correct. We have not found life elsewhere. It's why we're seeking it out. It's why we're searching for it. It's why it's such a big and important question. All right. Polite Alpaca has our lead. Tom, we're going to go to question 2 together. This is a multi-select, so there's more than one right answer. Now, Tom mentioned one of these really tangentially. One he mentioned a bit. What are some of the key places we think might have life? Where are we looking in our solar system for life? Are we looking on Mars? Are we looking on the sun? Are we looking on Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter? Are we looking on Neptune? 2 of these are correct. 2 of them are wrong. We also featured Enceladus, which is a moon of Saturn, which is not in this quiz, but is a really interesting spot as well. So Mars, yes. and Europa as well. So we've got a couple missions right now out looking and trying to understand more about some special places with lots of water in our solar system that might have life, because on Earth, water means life. Wherever there's water, there's life in abundance. So we're excited to explore the places that have water or had water to see. All right, we talked about this with Proxima Centauri. If we send a signal to the nearest aliens, we beamed them. Hello, we're here. And they replied to us. How long would that take? Would it take 4 seconds, 4 minutes, 4 hours, or 4 years for their message to get back to us? Tom said that the fastest spacecraft we have, the fastest thing we've ever designed, would take 6,000 years to get there. Fortunately for us, the speed of light is a little bit faster, so we can send signals a little quicker. But 4 years, 4 years. Space is insanely, crazy big. It's really hard to fathom that if you see a star that's a million light years away, you're not seeing it as it is today. You're seeing it as it looked a million years ago, because the light has been taking that long to get to you. It's really quite unfathomable considering how we live our lives here on Earth, but it's really important to know. So Friendly Pelican has our lead. Our final question's coming. How many planets do we think there are? We had Munaza Alam. She's an exoplanet hunter. She came on a couple weeks ago. She was amazing. So we're starting to find new planets out in the other solar systems. Is it 10? Is it several hundred? Is it several thousand? Or is it trillions and trillions of planets? What do we think, Tom? Let's see. 3 seconds left, 58 answers in. And the answer is trillions and trillions. If you, now your video unfortunately cut out for a quick second when you're sharing the ultra deep field. But if we take a look at a tiny, tiny patch of sky, the size of a grain of sand, imagine holding a grain of sand at the end of your arm and pointing at the sky. If you point a telescope at that grain of sand, there's like 10,000 galaxies. And each one of those galaxies has hundreds of billions of stars. And most of those stars have planets. Like there's more planets than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of the world, which is just crazy to think about, which is why people like Tom and I tend to think that there's almost certainly lots of alien life out there. We just might have a hard time finding it. But let's see what that does to our leaderboard. Fabulous Griffin. And first, for all the marbles, good margin of victory today is Friendly Pelican. Way to go, guys. Thank you so much for playing along. And we're going to dive in with questions now. So we got a bevy of folks on YouTube. We got tons of live classes. YouTubers, start sharing your questions, please. And we're going to start with our Bayside Public School crew. Come on in, unmute your mic, and take us away. Hey, guys. Hi. Do you have a question for Tom? What do you think?
What one would you rather find, advanced aliens or normal aliens?
Ooh.
I don't want to just find microbial life. I want to find real advanced aliens that can talk to us. Of course, we're going to have to learn their language, but I hope they're even more advanced than humans, because I want to learn more math, more physics, more things that they have discovered that we have not even figured out yet. So I'm hoping that we meet the really intelligent, advanced aliens.
We've never had quite that question before, so thank you so much for that. We're going to head to Mrs. Haagen-Jaws's class. If you guys want to unmute your mic and share a question, you are good to go. Hey, guys.
So how you said that simulation is a solution of the Fermi paradox, is the Boltzmann brain theory also a solution?
Wow, it's a technical question, man.
Jesse, just repeat the last half of that.
Yeah, you talked about a simulation in Mrs. Haagen-Jaws's class. What was the second thing you said? Just to repeat it.
So is the Boltzmann brain theory also a solution?
Can't hear.
Come on up, guys. It's hard to hear.
Yes, come right up to the microphone. Thank you.
There you go.
So you were saying that that one of the solutions to the Fermi paradox was simulation. Does that mean that the Boltzmann brain theory could also be a solution?
Very interesting. Okay, so someone asked about the Boltzmann brain theory. So let me just explain what that is to everyone. It was a famous scientist named Boltzmann that talked about the universe is so huge, it might even be infinite in size. And if it's infinite in size, totally weird things might happen. And he actually pictured that there might be a brain floating out there in space that has a whole bunch of memories in it, and it can think and all that kind of stuff. And if the universe is infinite in size, maybe that's possible. Personally, I have trouble wrapping my head around a brain floating out there in space that actually works. But the theory of the universe being infinite in size, everything might be possible.
There you go. It's the sort of realms into science fiction more than science, but it's certainly an interesting idea. Great question, guys. And sorry for having to have you repeat it, but thank you for that. John Brandt, grade 6s, we're coming to you. Come on in. Hey.
How do we know that like the time when like the stuff came, you know?
Ooh.
You mean like in our calendar when we we
Yeah.
said this happened back in August? Yeah. Well, one of the things we do is we can do something called carbon dating or radiometric dating. And when we analyze rocks on Earth, we can analyze how old those rocks are. When meteorites land on Earth, we can analyze the date of those. And guess what? Almost every meteorite that we analyze that lands on Earth is 4.5 billion years old. So that tells us the solar system was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Then when we analyze rocks on Earth, some of the oldest ones we found in Australia are something like 3.5 or 4 billion years old. So this scientific method is what we actually use to determine how old things like the Earth are. And then when we dig up things like bones of our ancestors, we can also start to discover how long ago did humans form, how long ago did Australopithecus show up, and things like that. So archaeology is used to discover some of that.
Yeah. Radiometric dating is one of the most incredible scientific advancements of all time. Like the fact that we can do this and be like, oh, this is from 202.4 million years ago. And we can do that very, very accurately for things all over the world. And they all line up. It's not like there's any outliers. We never find like a fossil rabbit from 500 million years ago. That has never happened. That would upend all of science in like 1 second. And scientists around the world would be thrilled if they found something that amazing and life-changing, but it's never happened. So we can date things really, really accurately. And it's been quite amazing, the discoveries that have come from that. So I'm really glad we got that question. If you're keen on the full cosmic calendar stuff, I've got some amazing videos for our classes after that I'll share with you guys. So stay tuned for those. Mr. Hancock, come on in, and Meadow Montessori, you guys are next. Hey guys.
I'll predict some cosmic calendar videos. One of our students was wondering your thoughts on Area 51. Are there aliens there?
Ooh.
Please repeat.
Oh, yeah. Area 51, Tom. Aliens there or not? What do we think?
Yes, absolutely not. Anytime you hear someone talking about Area 51, like these people that come to Congress and they talk about how there could be aliens there, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't raise to the scientific level of having evidence. Often you'll hear those discussions with Congress. Well, I knew someone that talked to someone, they told me that such and such. Well, no, that's not scientific evidence. Show me the alien. And that'll then allow us to let 10 different research institutions analyze that evidence of aliens rather than just conjecture or possibilities or whatever. And often you'll see people that make claims like that. There's something in it for them. They're trying to sell a book or whatever. If you go to Area 51, you know, you can buy a plush alien toy and they'll sell that to you. But no, I don't put any credence to having aliens or spaceships in the back rooms of Area 51.
Well, and two things worth noting too. Like Area 51 is a secretive military base, of which there are many across the United States. There's many in Canada for that matter. So there's lots of these places that have cutting edge technology that they don't want everyday people knowing about. And that makes total sense. But I always like to highlight this. Think in your class, if someone has a secret, how long it takes before that secret gets out. So you tell someone, do they tell someone else? Most often, yes. So if there were aliens at Area 51, thousands and thousands of people that have worked there for 50 plus years would have had to keep the biggest secret of all time. And that is not because there isn't a secret to keep. So I love when we get this question. Meadow Montessori, Miss Lake's crew, come on in and unmute your mic. Take us away, guys. Hey.
Do we think like parallel universes exist?
Ooh.
Okay, great question. So let's talk about what parallel universes are. So parallel universes might be more than one universe. So we know the universe that we live in, and it has 3 dimensions of space one dimension of time, and we're familiar with it. We can walk around, drive our cars around, whatever. But some scientific theories point to the fact that parallel universes might exist. There's no observational evidence that that's the case. We have never found one. We have never observed one. So that is truly in the realm of theory or Hollywood science fiction. And of course, scientists keep looking for ways that we might find proof or evidence that they do exist. But right now, all it is scientific conjecture and great ideas for Hollywood movie themes.
Yeah. I love when we get questions like this, because what's really interesting, and you students, we have grade 3 through 8 today. And so you're not quite at the physics level yet. High level physics, like cutting edge physics, is crazy. It highlights things that are absolutely insane, like electrons can be in 2 places at once, and things that just boggle belief and you can barely believe, but we can prove them experimentally in a lab. But also cutting edge physics produces ideas that are really wonky and hypothetical and with a lot of conjecture, and we don't know if we're ever going to find out about them. It doesn't mean they're not worth trying to study and understand, but some of them are just as outlandish as things that Hollywood would come up with as well. But I love when we get questions on them because they're so fascinating to think about, like a giant brain floating in space, or parallel universes, or infinite universes with everything. I mean, these are wild and crazy and fun ideas, and those sorts of ideas have led us to some of our biggest discoveries ever. So I love when we talk about them. Thanks, guys. All right, Miss Haagen-Dazs, we're coming back to you guys in a second. Miss Minette's class has a great question on YouTube. Are we sending any money into a space program? Are we training astronauts here in Canada to help uncover some of these mysteries, Tom?
Well, yes, we absolutely are. And there's Artemis missions coming up with NASA, 3 American astronauts and 1 Canadian astronauts that within the next couple of years are planning to go around to the far side of the moon and possibly even landing back on the moon again with actual boots on the surface. And that might happen in the next few years. So stay tuned for some of that happening. And every time we do that, we always try to dig down to see if we can find any microbial life. Yep. So we'll see.
It is the golden age of space exploration. If you're interested in robotic missions, human missions, everything, it's like the best time to be alive ever. And all the students in these classes, like, you are the age of the people that will be the first people to set foot on Mars, which is crazy to think about. Super, super cool. And I want to note, we've got 4 astronauts in Canada. We have featured all 4 of them on our broadcast. So Jenny Gibbons, Josh Kutrick, Jeremy Hansen, and David St. Jacques have all been featured on Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. If you look up Canadian astronaut on our YouTube channel, you will find our interviews with them, and they're super, super cool people. Miss Haagen-Dazs, we're heading back to you guys. Maybe come up close to the camera. I'll try and listen in really closely, but tell us another question. Hi.
If somebody ever told you that aliens existed, do you think you'd believe them?
I would not believe them right away. So I would look at what the evidence is. Then I would hopefully get multiple research institutions involved. Even if one research institution told me that they found aliens, we still don't trust it. That's how science works, is the first research. So it starts with the person that got the video of it or whatever, but then it starts with the first research institute, but we don't even believe them. Even if it's a university, we then get multiple universities to analyze the exact same data, the exact same evidence, and a truth will emerge once that happens. And that is the scientific method that we promote.
You're a few years away from the students thinking about this, but peer review is the name of this. So basically, scientists live, their joy in life is disproving other scientists and saying, nope, that idea is terrible, it's wrong, and I've proven why. So like about a year ago, we did cold fusion. We developed fusion power for the first time, and we had a no temperature superconductor. It was this big thing, and all the scientists in the world were super excited. We were like, wow, this would change energy forever all over planet Earth. But they said, you know what? That's a really extraordinary claim. That's like a big, big thing to say. Prove it. And they did all sorts of proof around the world, and they were like, nope, you didn't actually do that. It didn't happen. There you go. So even high-level universities can make mistakes. Even high-level researchers can sort of interpret data the wrong way. And that's why scientists are always working together to come up with the truth. And so as
Carl Sagan said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary
evidence. We both love Carl Sagan. Tom and I are united in that. John Brandt, grade 6s, come on in and take us away with a second. Hey, guys.
Okay, we have a question here.
How many microorganisms have you found in space?
Ooh.
Great question. So the answer is we've never found alien microbes anywhere in the universe. But a weird thing happened just a few weeks ago where they were analyzing the exterior surface of the International Space Station, and they were finding microbial life out there. But we don't think that's from alien species. It's probably just stuff that has come from the International Space Station and the people that are on it. So,
which is why I'm really glad you mentioned this, because when we send robots to Mars, the clean room that they build those robots in is exceptional, because one of the things that we really don't want to do is bring one of our own microbes to Mars and then subsequently go and be like, oh, there are microbes on Mars. Because it's like, they're not from Mars, they're from us, and we put them there. Humans are really, really good at bringing things in places where they're not supposed to be. So that's really interesting. I actually didn't see that study for the ISS, but it's fascinating, and it really does underscore. When we sent a robot around Saturn, we, at the end of that mission, crashed it into Saturn. Like, we blew it up on purpose because we didn't want that spacecraft maybe carrying some of our microbes to land on Europa, one of the moons that we think, or Enceladus, one of the moons we think might have life, and bring our life to it. That was one of the big things we wanted to avoid. So super, super cool question, guys. All right. Time for 2 more questions before we wrap up. Time flies and you're having fun. And if you have extras, please do email them to us. Tom's really good about getting extra answers to our guys. So Mr. Hancock will come to you, and Meadow Montessori will wrap up in a sec. Hey, guys.
Hey, one of my students was wondering, where did your passion come from, Tom? Why did you go into this field?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. And it started when I was 11 years old, looking up to the moon because Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were walking around on the moon, and I was flabbergasted. And that was my first excitement about science. I can't believe someone's walking around on the moon. But then 10 or 15 years ago, I literally got immersed in YouTube videos of galactic cannibalism and different things in astronomy. And every video like that I watched, I was just blown away. And that really drew me in, such that I've now watched tens of thousands of hours of videos from scientists to learn as much as I can about astronomy and space exploration.
Yeah, it's a pretty splendid field out there. And I will say, I'm going to pass along some NASA resources to our classes later. They do some of the best education work in the world. So if you want to learn more about anything on space, they're really great. I will also pass along a fantastic cosmic calendar video as well. One of my very favorite things we've ever featured. So thanks, guys, for the question. We're going to take one more before we wrap up and say farewell. Meadow Montessori, come on in and take us away. Hey, guys. Hey. Oh, but unmute. There you are. Nope, we can't hear you. Press the mute button. There you go. You're almost good. Don't worry. Hey.
If you think there are aliens, do you think they're aggressive or peaceful towards you?
Ooh, cool question. I love this one.
Good question. So first of all, I absolutely do believe there's aliens. I believe not only to the level of humans, but far more advanced than us. But if you look at Earth, the evidence is that there's probably some good ones and some bad ones. I mean, look at the countries that are fighting just on Earth itself, and wars that are happening and things like that. So I got to think, because the universe is so big, they're all out there. There's good ones, there's bad ones. But here's the thing. The ones that are exploring the world, I'm hoping those are the good ones. Because if I think the Earth species that is going to go out there exploring the world is organizations like NASA, where their mission is science and learning about the universe, I think it's going to be more likely that it's the good ones. And I don't think it's the bad ones, because a lot of Hollywood movies will show the bad ones. They're coming here to steal our resources and our gold and all that kind of stuff. Any advanced alien that can travel right across the universe doesn't need to come to us to steal our gold, silver, and platinum. Because on the way here, there are asteroids with trillions and trillions of dollars of all those rare earth minerals and all that. They don't need to come to us to get that. That stuff is all over the universe. So if the bad ones exist, I don't think they're going to attack us and take over planet Earth.
It's a fairly common view. So I'm really glad when we get this question. Carl Sagan talked about this a lot. I really encourage our classes to look up the golden record. So when we send out our probes that went beyond our solar system, the Voyager probes, we put directions to Earth on that. And we put all sorts of songs from Earth and voices from Earth and all sorts of amazing things. It's one of the coolest things we've ever done in science. And one of the ideas for that is that it would be like a cosmic message in a bottle, that maybe billions of years down the road, maybe when humans are no longer even alive on Earth, aliens might find that and remember and know a little bit about what we were as a civilization. But the idea that if you have the wherewithal, the cooperative ability, the science and technology to travel between the stars, you are probably out for peace and knowledge and beyond. So I love that message, Tom. Thank you so much for that. And before we wrap up, is there any last message you want to share with us?
Yes, I want to share some of it. Thanks for sticking with us through a couple of technical difficulties we had there. So thanks for that. But I did want to end with a final announcement. My organization is called Cosmologists Without Borders. And we put together a scientific achievement award called the Pioneers of Progress that we have awarded to top scientists around the world, like Dr. Chris Impey at the University of Arizona, Dr. Ethan Siegel, Dr. Paul Suter. And if you search for some of these people on YouTube and watch some of their amazing content, you will learn so much more about scientists. The fourth person that won this award is someone that actually runs a magazine called Universe Today. So take a look at Universe Today as a great source for great information. And in winning this award, these four people have won a cruise for two people around the world to places like the Mediterranean, Caribbean, or even joining us for a cruise in August of 2026 to see the total solar eclipse in Iceland. And the reason I'm mentioning this award, because I am happy today to announce the next award winner for a free trip to around the world. And the award winner for this year is none other than, guess who? Jesse Hildebrand, who is on this broadcast because of the amazing work he has done in delivering this program, in creating some of the original science programs that we have up here in Canada. And Jesse, so I wanted to congratulate you on winning this award. You and I will talk where I'll tell you a lot more about how you're going to get.
Thank you so much, Tom. Geez. Well, news to me. That is truly a surprise. And thank you so much. And we love here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, sharing all sorts of amazing stories of space, exploration, science, and beyond. If you're new to us, check out the YouTube channel. There's so much to explore and discover there. And what we do to end every broadcast, I'm going to bring in our class to say thank you and farewell, because we're off to another show right after this. This time stops for no one. So Mr. Hancock, Ms. Haagen-Dazs's class, Meadow Montessori Crew, thank you so much.